catching up over the 16 Days of Activism, and the three of you have taught me a lot over many years. So I wanted to throw a bunch of questions that I still have to the three of you.
All right.
The start one was, what are the key events that you're looking forward to at the moment? What are the things that you're seeing that are exciting you, that are challenging you? Are there different things popping up in the next 16 days that you're really excited for?
I can start. I don't know if excited's the right word. What for me, the 16 days is shining a spotlight and amplifying voices and information and awareness. I'm excited to see the different organisations that are providing free opportunities for learning and growth for everyone. And we're really seeing, the impacts of digital violence. We're really understanding, bringing some of these statistics to life through lived storytelling. So those are some of the shining a spotlight on this issue, building momentum of education and awareness.
I think for me, it's more about what happens after the 16 days. 16 days we'll have a groundswell of movement and momentum. We will have conversations. We will have people step forward. We'll have people really want to create change in workplaces, community, schooling, etc. But for me, the important part and what I look forward to is what happens next. When those people keep taking those steps forward, and when those people go back to their workplaces and say, I heard this, I read this, I went to this webinar, what else can we do? What more can we do? And what I want for people to do and to know is to keep asking those questions, to keep challenging the workplaces or the schools or their friends or their family, and to keep moving forward. Because when we all move forward in those moments, that's when we can truly, create change.
Well, I think for me, I'm actually really excited, probably in that broader spectrum, like Kat was sharing, to see organisations shift from just having a basic policy to actually looking at how do we have champions, how do we support a network of champions throughout the business, how do we have e-learning, face-to-face training, train the trader models, contact officers throughout a business that actually creates a whole culture of respect, not just a single HR rep with a policy stuffed in a portal. So I think that's what really excites me.
Amazing. And I think the theme is really interesting this year, particularly around the rapid changes that we have around digital technology and workplaces. I do wonder, are there things or top advice that you have for people that are grappling with these new challenges that you're thinking, oh, what do I do if I'm seeing a video of an employee and I don't know if it's real, if I'm looking at an employee who's getting monitored online for their behavior? Are there any advice that you have for people navigating these rapid new worlds that we see ourselves in?
My advice probably is the steps before that. And I think that's where these conversations really start. My advice is when kids and young people are entering into the workforce around expectations of workplace support. My advice is around parents when they're parenting kids around technology is to have the conversations around what is real and what's not real really early on, to set boundaries around tech, around consent, around what to do and teach children and young people when they're using technology around what to do if they do get those requests, or who are the safe people that they can speak to. So my advice starts young, and it starts way before they're formally in the workplace setting.
I'd love to follow on from that in particular, which is, what about any advice for the people who feel like they haven't started yet, or they're just at the beginning and feel overwhelmed by it all? When you become aware of this as a workplace issue, not just a social issue, despite some people using domestic in the name, we see some people right at the beginning of their journey often who feel overwhelmed, and then you throw on all the digital layers now and all the new things to be aware of.
I would say just make a start. No matter what that is, take a step forward and lean in. And I would say there are a number of organisations out there who are happy to share their learnings, look to partner with others that might have already started on their journey, look to start with a policy, look at being educated around what is this topic, domestic and family violence. What is it? What does it look like? And how does it show up in our workplaces? That just start your journey with taking that curiosity to the next level.
I think that's something that the three of you have shown me as well, is that there is so much work to do in the space, and there is so much that people are willing to give away to get you started, that we're not really worried about, work competition of who gets what job or where that comes out. There is enough for everyone. But if you are worried about getting started, I think the biggest thing I've seen is that people will help you get started, because we know that there is so much more we can do together as time goes on. And conscious of time, because I've taken you away from another event as we plow through all of these things to try and help people in that vein, I wanted to focus a little bit as we go through, because I've been inspired by our conversations about male leadership and what does that look like. But I'd love to hear from you two first when we look at this space of what are the actions you've seen that matter in workplaces, and what are the small things that you've seen that you think will have an impact? And you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I would love to see if there are any small actions or pieces advice that you might have.
There's a few. One of the key things for me is that workplace commitment and having a really significant member of the executive or, in that really leadership role, leaning in, championing this topic and addressing it in the workplace. So for me, it's leadership is really significant, is that we walk the talk and we lead the way, and we do it because we care about our people. And when we think about what is our why, we want people to come to work, to be safe, to bring their whole selves, to belong. And if we have strong leadership at the top who are saying this is an issue for our workplace and we're ready to tackle it, those small steps can really be significant. And I've seen organisations invest because they've got a strong leader who have championed it.
And I think building on that, it's about connection. And so when leaders or all employees have a connection to each other and a connection to the topic or a connection to a belief that the workplace can create change, that's where we see the biggest movement. When workplaces, when people from all levels connect and understand that employee wellbeing starts at home and is brought into the workplace, we can have an understanding of what each individual person needs. When we start to address that, we can bring our whole selves to work and we can feel like that we are then sort of seen, heard and believed in those spaces.
I think that was the prompt actually to lead on to that I was going to steal for you, which was, as a father of boys, are there any things that parenting a young boy has taught you that you've taken into the workplace and running some of these sessions and inviting men in?
I think I'd lose a lot of hair. I've got a daughter and 2 sons. I think it's a occupational hazard possibly of being a parent and a social worker. I think for me, like there is, if we're thinking about leadership and male leadership in the workforce and how we can actually have that as a contributing to a solution, not in reinforcing the problem, is actually how do you cut against some of that hyper-masculine behaviour? How do you show vulnerability in those spaces? How do you show courage and care? And role modelling can demonstrate both what you want your staff to do and not do. So even the simple stuff about, hey, I'm going to finish early and go pick up my kids from school, gives other fathers permission that actually that's a valuable thing to do too. Talking about your partner and your kids in a positive way at work, as opposed to going in using derogatory language and using those kinds of leaning into those jokes and comments. My kids are still teaching me every day. They're still testing my patience every day. But the hope for me and the legacy for me is that we create a different picture for our kids, that our young men can grow up feeling safe to be whoever they are and not being pigeonholed or boxed up into spaces that for so many men that has been their story. You can't cry, you can't feel, you can't share your emotions, you've got to be drunken or on drugs, you've got to treat women with disrespect. Like, that's not the legacy, that's not the story I want my kids to grow up in.
Yeah. I think that's a really good pull together for this is just like shorthand of that, right? It's what is the legacy you want your workplace to have? What is the legacy you want to have in your workplace? I think those are great questions that will lead you to the right answers for a lot of these to keep it going, because then that just lets you set it up and go, well, if I got this wrong, then I can have a legacy of showing people that I got that wrong, and they'll feel comfortable saying when they get things wrong.
I mean, that's probably part of it, Ken, too. Like, we probably have sat in this space of hearing these amazing gurus on this topic sharing about the fact that they never heard their parents tell them they loved them. In fact, if parenting, their experiences were abusive, the parents probably never apologised and never said sorry. I muck up, I reckon, every day and apologise to my partner and kids. Like, there's, you know, and I think that to actually own that you can make mistakes, that they can see you have a fight with your partner or whatever and repair that, and it's not unsafe. You know, so what does it look like or feel like to do that differently for your kids? And you're role modelling that at work and at home. Mm-hmm. What do you do with your anger when you're feeling really frustrated with the lawnmower? Do you throw it over the neighbour's fence, or do you actually calm down, take a breath?
Yeah.
You know?
Fantastic. I mean, I'm hyper conscious of time, and this is just a quick chat amidst all of the different events. And I appreciate all three of you for all you do, but also for the advice. And maybe we'll do more of these in future.